the streets of Mare, you know, and the locations there. You know, that was the era of like Gregory Isaacs and the era of Michael Jackson 5 and all those things. You know?
Yeah.
So it's really upon discovering the excitement of music. That's when you realize that. That's when I fell in love with music. You know. Around that's when I fell in love with music.
Wow.
So yeah, it stretches from around about 1984 to as far as last night at the club.
So you eat music, you live music on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah. I've been on the journey of music for a while, you know, which is what really puts bread on my table. Anything that I do is around music, whether it is DJing, whether it is the promotions thing. Really, I'm like 360 degrees of music.
Wow.
You know?
Great. I was watching one interview that you had some time ago, and you mentioned that a collection that you got from the iconic, the legend, Pete and Love, gave you a break in terms of your DJing career. Could you just tell us a bit about that experience?
Yeah, you were talking of 1996. You know, being in Zimbabwe, you know how difficult it was to get your hands on some good reggae vinyl, be it vinyl or CDs. I think the technology was just coming out of the vinyl era into CDs. So if you're not playing cassettes, which were the most easiest way to make a collection,
Yes.
CDs were nowhere to be found. You were at college, the CD era had just started taking shape. So for one to uh, give access to a lot of music, it was like wow. I was left in a candy shop of music. You know, when I went to see Peter after
Yes.
having been referenced by Mapinzi Somapiri, who was there's a plane passing through. Okay, sorry.
No, no, it's fine. It's okay.
Sorry, man.
Wow.
Jet Star collections, the green sleeves.
The green sleeves.
Yeah, yeah, crazy, crazy.
Wow.
So that really was an important part of my career and development. Because I think it was his sister's wedding.
Okay.
That's when we really, yeah, that's when we met up and we liked what I was doing. Said, yo, I need you to come to South Africa, to do recording.
Yes.
I wasn't even ready for doing some recordings, man. I was just happy to be playing music. And to go on now and start recording, I was like, wow. So, but around that time, it was a time when there wasn't any form of sound system culture that was really doing big things in Zanzibar.
Yes.
So
But in Zimbabwe, the sound system culture was big then.
was already, we're talking of already 15 years of music. That Clown Rumors, Studio One, Major E, all the guys. They were
Yes.
already on the cutting edge. But it was 2 years after the fall of apartheid. So you can imagine that it was also reggae was one of those music genres that was not supposed to be exposed to the local people because of its what they call freedom sentiments.
Yes.
So to be arriving in Zanzibar was like really arriving on Lucky Dube was doing his thing, at the same time.
Yes. He was the biggest reggae act then.
He was the biggest reggae act then. But when I arrived there, I think he was already doing more touring than was he spending most of his time, I think, in Zanzibar. But that was like the mainstream reggae, the mainstream world music reggae that he was doing. But the hardcore, your ninja, your beanie, your bounty kind of style,
Yes.
was not that cultivated on the ground. So yeah, man, it was an opportunity to try it out. I knew I was gonna be behind what Zim was doing because I think when I left Zim around 1996,
Yes.
people already, that's the time of that's the era of that old Capital tone.
Yes.
Those were some of the biggest tunes around that time. So I had to live with the fact that I was living a very thriving dance or culture in Zim.
Yes.
To go to Zanzibar where I had to start maybe DJing from fresh again, But people appreciated it. South
Wow.
Africans really appreciated the vibe and within the first, I think, 2 years of playing the music, we were already pulling crowds of close to about 2,000 at one point.
Wow. And but how did you manage to change that culture? Because South Africa was big on digong then. House music was really the mainstay. There was also batang and other music genres.
With reggae music, because it's mainly black artistry, you know. I think it resonates with a lot of people who understand and share the plight of the black people freedom. It's rebel music.
Yes.
It's music about money. It's social commentary. So besides the hip hop and what other traditional sounds we're doing, it's one of those mainstream genres that really put a lot of social commentary in terms of whether it be talking of injustices or the freedom of African people. It's it's really, and I think it's source of commentary as well. It's what maybe even attracts people even in Europe and everything, because you start realizing that as people we are living in a system that is almost designed to bring the same struggles and the same injustices, you know,
Yes. True.
and
True.
people worldwide they start really resonating with this vibration. And one good thing about reggae as well, like what Mali said, when it hits you, feel no pain,
True.
serious come. Mm.
Wow. That's quite interesting there. And Bongo Muffin, how did you guys connect? You're coming from different cultures, different languages, different countries. How did the connection happen?
Like I said, that by the time I was in Norway or playing uh, this selection that I was given by Peter and doing my thing,
Mhm.
Oscar came to his sister's wedding,
Yes.
and he was already a big producer in South Africa. He was already working with bands like Boom Shaka,
Ah,
you know.
great.
So Boom Shaka had managed to fuse the dance culture with the elements of dance, you know.
Yes.
We talking of the very pinnacle of Shaba,
Mhm.
you know. So that is why I think Shaba is one of the most iconic dancehall DJs out there because his influence didn't only stop in Jamaica and Africa. A lot of roots encompassed that voice, you know.
Yes.
So you're talking of uh, every group. When that was the time of the bands, you know. South Africa then it was going through the era of the youth bands, you know. And
Yeah.
for you to look nice on stage, you know, they had to look like maybe four people working together, you know,
Yes.
one doing their, you know, there was all that band culture, you know, that was going on, you know. Yes, there was some individual artists here and there, but the dance culture, had more to see, there was more to present, there was more to see
Mhm.
on stage when there's four people or three people doing something, you know.
Yeah.
So uh, Oscar, upon seeing what I was doing in Bulawayo, he said to me that I want you to come to South Africa. And I think around the same time, he had also been working with, he had also known Stone, who was coming from Mabato, who was coming from a heavily rap influenced background.
Yes.
And this one, he had known her for, she was still very young, around like 18, 19 or
Oh,
19.
18, 19. Wow, she was very young.
Yeah, she was very young, and you know, but she voiced a couple of tracks, and we liked. There's one song I think she had voiced on this reading that was done by compilation group that was calling this. The song was called Jackknife, you know,
Mhm.
and it did send very strong musical vibrations as far as Bongo Muffin, you know, and
Yes.
he wanted us to be that group that was gonna be maybe just an all boy band, which was myself, Speedy was still also I think in secondary school, and he actually left, you know, school to end up being part of Bongo Muffin, you know,
Wow.
and initially it was myself, Stone, and Speed. Speed was doing the singing, Stone was doing the rapping,
And
I was doing
the
the
raga
raga
part.
elements in the raga part.
Mhm.
Disco was always being asked to come and do some backup singing here and there, some featuring here and there, until one day Speed just said, you know what, I think to the group, and the rest is like what they say,
Is history.
history.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you think the multicultural element gave Bongo Muffin, um, you know, the unique edge and the international appeal that it had?
The multicultural element, it was something new. It was also something new for the people to see because remember South Africa was now free now, so there was that celebratory. The atmosphere was close to festival. South Africa was free. They won the World Cup, won the African Nations Cup. There was a lot of you know, what can I say? In Southern Africa. You know,
Wow. It's it,
so yeah,
that's quite interesting there because South Africa, like you're saying, the situation was not as it is to date. But you managed to defy all those limitations, all those challenges. And what would you regard as the biggest highlight for the group? Like the moment that uh, stands out the tallest?
there's so many moments, man. There's so many highs and so many lows same time. But is there anyone that's, of course, I mean, the meeting of Bongo Muffin meeting Michael Jackson and Madiba, our first international tours, you know, all of a sudden, people are now requesting you to come to London. You think yourself, wow, the whole puzzle is now connecting together now. So I would say, I think our first international tours, starting to go to America, going to Europe, and going to your UK's. Yeah, it's some of those moments that you don't see it happening because you are just focusing on trying to entertain your local people. But I think the good thing with music, uh, music travels. It's got a way of crossing those in whatever physical borders, and it's got a life of its own once it leaves the studios. So before you know it, you are now in the UK. Before you know it, you are now in some place called Austria. You are now in Germany. You are now in all these areas. But you start realizing the power of music, and you actually put more respect to the artistry of all the music, which I think most youths must also really focus on because music travels and they must keep on doing what they are doing because once the music is out of the studio, there it does its own thing. It takes its own life. Yeah.
Interesting. You're talking about music traveling and finding its way into Europe, in the States, in Asia. But there was no internet back then. Internet was not easily accessible. There was no social media. There was no
Yeah.
online streaming. How did you guys do it?
We were some of the people that really did your door-to-door kind of campaigning. We did some door-to-door campaigning in terms of our marketing, especially in South Africa. Some of our friends, we actually met them face to face performing from one city hall, from one community hall to the other community hall.
Yeah.
Sometimes just for promotional sake, you know. Now it's easy. You can just have your CD out and you promote it online. You know, the first day that you release your song, and you can share it nicely. Even in WhatsApp groups, there's like already 280 people who are ready to know your music. You know, why else back then, you know, your music starts from you and your people recording it, and by the time it reaches radio. But there's also an important part that was happening back then of being able to just have access to, what can I say, to have access to your uh, what if you release an album, the DJs could really be able to play the rest of your album. Unlike nowadays, man, you have to just make a single.
Yes.
You know, you make a single and then try to do a video same time. The idea of doing an album, yes, it's still relevant, one or the other, but nowadays the marketing is like really moving from one track to the other, one track to the other. Every track that's important out there must have a video, you know, and DJs are now also limited with just playing one of your tracks from your whole album because of all this technical advancement that was really mainly made due to corporations now wanting to have a piece of the airspace. Back in the days, DJs would miss an advert because they're introducing new music. Nowadays, you can't miss an advert. The computer does its own. That's why there's more talk show presenters nowadays than there is DJs who just used to play music and all that stuff.
Quite interesting there because you were part of Soweto FM, which then became YFM. And from my own research, I would regard YFM as one of the key pillars in terms of the musical revolution in Africa as a whole.
Yeah. Because of South Africa's what can I say, its location as well as its hold on the media, your DSTVs and your channel O's, with stations like YFM being able to champion the youth culture, which in most countries around that time, music was regarded as maybe an older generation kind of artistry, you know, to start seeing people of your own age, you know, in 20, 22, they're now, making money from music. It's like it's too, unlike when we were coming from Zim, I mean, you knew that music, was Oliver, was Thomas, and all the guys there. So psychologically, you would think maybe I have to be a little bit older, so
to make it.
To make it, man. So the YFM representing the youth culture, it really put a lot of attention on the youth, that even the youth of Africa as well started also maybe putting pressure on their own local communities to say, you know what, if South Africa can do it, we can do it too. Let's have more youth. That's why now if you turn on the TV, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You go to Zimbabwe, kids are singing in uniform now. It's beautiful.
But how do you compare DJing back then to DJing now? Because I would say radio DJing was playing a lot of role in curating music, which seems to be a bit different now. For example, in Zimbabwe, radios are vibing to what's already on the space, what's already like on the streets. But back then, radio was always like ahead of the time. How do you compare radios back then and now?
How do I compare radios then and now? I think they've got the music is so much available now.
Mhm.
There's so much to choose from, such that the market is almost close to flooded. But that is why I think most people are now finding more chances getting their songs to be heard if you do a video. Because if you do an audio alone, it needs to be a very, very clever song audio wise. Otherwise, any song that you take out there, it must come with the video somewhere. But still, I would say radio is also competing with your YouTubes, your TikToks, and all these things. So there is more chances of your songs also getting ahead, not only on radio, like I said, the social media platforms. They are really creating uh, a longer reach than back in the days where if Jerusalem Moises song was released in 1994,
Yes.
he could have made a buzz in South Africa only. But now because of social media and everything, one song that is the guys where the person is boasting in Zulu, it's now a viral song that's playing from Austria to India to Brazil. So you can see that there's also that part as well, that music is transcending borders much quicker, you know? Yeah.
Wow.
Something along those lines. I think I spoke a lot and forgot what you were saying.
No, actually,
What you say?
you were
Yeah.
online. You were talking about radio and how things have changed now. Yeah. Fast forward, you're no longer just singing. You're no longer just DJing, but you're also a promoter. You've been promoting some of the biggest concerts, especially reggae. Um, what do you enjoy the most, being an artist, a DJ, or a promoter, or you enjoy doing all of these things together?
Yeah, I enjoy just being around music. I enjoy being around music, whether there's me who's playing it or whether I'm assisting other people play it or bringing in artists to perform. You know, even as far as anyone who's in the musical platform, it's joy for me to work with them because that is the family, man. That is the music family. If we were animals, we would all be maybe we'll all be zebras, in the animal kingdom, So whether that person is doing this kind of a genre or anything, as long as it's music, I think it's one or the same, you know. There might be some certain variations here and there, but the core structure is really music, and I thrive a lot. My energy, you know, my spirits resonate a lot along those lines.
Great. You started off from the sound system culture, but fast forward now, do you still see the sound system culture vibing, or it's something that is dead now?
I would say actually it got like a good revival around um, this COVID time that we are just we're still experiencing because when you're playing music on YouTube, for you to play an hour of other people's music, of course, the copyright infringements will like really tell you to either stop what you're doing or not. But if you're playing your own dubs and one or the other, it actually gave the sound system culture sort of a second hand, a second wind, you know. Uh, and I think it's going to continue for a while. I'm seeing some Zim sounds, doing big things online as well. And I think for those who looking to be recognized as sound systems and they've got their doublets, this is, I'm sure, the time to showcase because you own part of you own your dubs,
Yeah, true.
and you won't be infringing any music rights, and this is it. The ownership is back to the artist again.
Ah,
How the sun is like trying to shine on my face. Yeah,
that's the beauty of Africa.
yeah, man.
Great, great. You mentioned Zim there. Where do you see Zimbabwean music headed? Do you think we are going international or we've gone international? It's been a conversation online, offline, people talking about Zimbabwean music, originality and copying and a
Uh,
whole lot of things. But you are based there, you have
we
seen
are
it all.
we are already international, you know. No one's gonna come and ring a bell and say Zimbabwean music, you're now international. It is already international. The moment you are able to go to London, and even if it means you're playing for the Zim crowd,
Yes.
it means you're crossing international borders and you've got listenership in London.
Mhm.
You go to America, you've got listenership. I know the language barrier sometimes make it look like other music is more international than the other. But it's
Yes.
just the mere fact of saying the music is allowing you to fly into London, going to Germany, going
Mhm.
to just play for that crowd that resonate with your music and you make a living out of it. We should not take it for granted. Like we are still thinking of music hasn't crossed any province or any. It is. We are international, you know.
Mhm.
I think every generation pushes it further, and other cultures as well. They are also slowly but surely assimilating to what is happening, what's going on, and I think that's how we grow, you know. So I think we are international. It might just be international on a different degree. You know, there's people who are 100% international, some are 80, but even if you're 20% international, you are
You are
international.
international. True, true.
See it there.
And
Mm.
still on Zimbabwe, who's on your radar right now? Either they're on your playlist or young artists that you could say, look, you know what, these have got what it takes for us to be where we have to be.
I would think there's a loose man. For me, the most exciting thing is from where we started, the whole, voicing of the Shona into modern uh, urban grooves,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
to where the youths have taken it now. You
Zim
know,
dancehall.
one thing about what's happening in Zim right now, it's seeing younger people doing it as early as 13 or 10 or whatever.
Mhm.
That says a lot about where the music is. Because are they communicating? Yes, they're communicating with music. Are they using music as a medium of communication? And I think that's the most important element that we must never overlook, to
Mhm.
say the youths now have a voice. If the youth at the age of 9, 10 can have a voice, I think that's beautiful for any nation to have that kind of representation. And I think that's one thing that most people are not maybe seeing and noticing in Zing dancehall, because
Yes.
being able to say something and have it understood by
Mhm.
millions of people, no matter your age, is a very brilliant space to be. In Zim, I know there's economic hardships because of the financial state of our country, because of the decisions that were taken
Yes.
for different reasons. But uh, I would put Zim right now as a place where, if all the economic things were in place, the money is strong enough, there will be some of the richest artists coming out of Zimbabwe right now. But the support that they have locally is amazing,
Wow.
amazing, amazing support, which means there's something right that they are doing. And they have found it, and they must just go for it. And I think that's what happened with us when we also started singing in Shona.
Yes.
we could communicate more, you know. It becomes easy, I think, when you're doing things in your own language. With English, you have to be very, very clever. You have to know English a lot. You have to study it. You have to know how to use it to make music with it. You have to speak it. You know, you have to have some. You have to have some time, the right accent. But when you're doing it in Shona, it's like, yo, man, you can sing it from the day you are. You can sing it from the day you are born.
Yes.
And I think it's important because the generations need to speak about whatever they're speaking about, and the message is within the music.
Wow.
You know.
Great. Talking about generations, what would you hope or want the next generations to remember you for the most? Your legacy.
I'm just saying, I mean, like, we were some of the people who were at the, at the foundation phase of realizing that, we can make music using our own languages, even as youths, we can make music that can transcend uh, borders.
Mhm.
Uh, because when I started singing in Shona in South Africa,
Yes.
there were very, very few Zimbabweans in South Africa around that time, And one
Yeah.
of my friends always said to me, when you started singing in Shona, we waited a bit and said, is it for real? Shona has now been spoken in South Africa. But then when you said, can I ask you come home? Of course, now,
Yes.
guys, the border is open now, guys. Let's go. So, to make people feel like that, to know that, because, prior to the borders, man, we were just like one and the same people, but the borders have made us look like we're so different.
Yeah,
That
true.
is sometimes it's even a challenge for somebody from it's even a big challenge for somebody from Tare or Bulawayo to
Yes.
go to Harare, which is 400 km away,
True, true.
let alone South Africa.
Mm.
And then you go to South Africa and start singing in Shona, it's like, wow, you know. So as long as the youths are going to remember, us as some of the people that broke those barriers,
Mhm.
and even the Zim dancing thing, I remember the first artist we brought to South Africa, Ladies Squander, around
Yes,
about
ladies hand.
2010.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
2010 Zim
She
Dancehall was
wasn't,
actually very, very young.
yeah, was very young. And but the moment I heard her, man, I was like, wow, this girl, man,
Mhm.
you know, I knew I had to, even if no one knew her. But for me, I just saw her as a, like, wow, that's star. She's a star, man. So if you look at one of our Facebook history,
Mhm.
you know, she was one of the first people that were brought to our platform to perform, and she came and she did good, you know,
Wow.
she did what she did, and the rest was history, man. Even the likes of the Killer Tees,
Yes.
even before people could know what these people were, because that's the good thing about music, man.
Mhm.
If you know that it's nice, if it's nice, it's nice. You can't deny it.
True, true, true.
You can't deny it at all. Yeah, man.
And what advice would you
Yeah.
give to young artists that are watching you? They've seen you make music, do all these things, but you still remain within the industry. What advice would you pass on to them?
What advice would I give the young artists?
Yes.
They must just believe. They must move with their generation.
Mhm.
They mustn't try to compete with because every generation, like I said to you, it ends up having its own. It ends up having its own. What can I say? It's like a flood,
Yes.
when it starts from almost like the very small tributaries.
Mhm.
By the time it reaches the ocean, it's now taking everybody. So they must realize that they will have to move with their own season, you know, and that season is going to culminate into a flood because sometimes it's very difficult for you to think, okay, when am I going to make the money, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes your friends don't have money. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not about you not having the money. It's that your friends sometimes are too young and they don't have the money. So let's say you're 23 and your friends are also 23, 24, 18, and 17. They love you, but they can't give you money. But wait until they are 45. Wait until they're CEOs. They will be giving you money like, you know what? I want to come and have you at our office party because
Yeah.
we are people of that same generation that used to hear the music when we were 23.
Yes.
So that is what the youth, I think, need to really focus on, and get it out there, you know.
Great.
So
Thanks, Anna. Before we close the interview, I wanted to ask, what's next for Jah Seed? Are we going to see another project from Bongo Muffin? What else are you working on that we could expect musically?
yeah, I'm thinking right now it's time for me to like write books, because I think
Great.
being an artist is sometimes being able to get that feeling, put it into a record, and let the people have it. I am someone who's keen in maybe getting information that I hear, process it the way I process it,
Mhm.
and take it out there and say, what do you think? So I think it's high time that I make a contribution to what I think about the world through a book, what I think about Africa through a book. Because there's so much content that we, people of Africa, sometimes we end up not, you know, the way of the world is very funny, you know.
Yeah.
You find that there's so much information that we have as African people that we tend not to share with each other because we think it's not important,
True.
you
True.
know, until you see a young Caucasian guy start telling you about Matobwe. You
That's
say,
when you
oh, but
start
I don't
believing.
into these things, man. You know what I'm saying? So
True.
I think that's one thing that maybe as African people we need to start being able to focus on telling the world what we know. We can't be the only ones being told about the world until we start getting told about things that we know about the world. All of a sudden, we start feeling like we are the toddlers of humanity when we are the fathers of humanity. You know, because in this life, I mean, if you don't teach, you might end up being taught the wrong lesson by others who don't know how to teach.
True. True.
So I think we need to make our contribution as African people about anything that is worth speaking about. But most of the time, we have never been told that information is money. We still think that getting a job is where I'm going to get my money. Getting one, but I think we now need to move into the idea of information being money, information being security. No one is going to come and build a bridge in your country if you know how to build the bridge, or if you tell them this is what I'm building and let the people see it. But we are sort of laid back about information that we know, then others come and just run everything down. So I think I need to make some contribution in the information that I have so that other people can also take it and use it one day.
Wow.
So,
That is profound. That is powerful. And I think for me, this is also what drives me a bit to be able to capture the stories, because I feel as long as we don't document, as long as we don't write our own stories, we are depriving the next
yeah,
generation of uh, a lot of wealth in terms of knowledge. So thank you so much for. Yeah, you can go on.
Respect, man. You know, we are African people. We are healing, you know, and I don't think we are even aware of the trauma that we went through. You know, we went through a trauma that scarred us so much that we don't even think that maybe we think that maybe we were operating 100%, but I don't think we are operating 100% because remember, Africa was the one continent that even the stories of our colonization ended up being told by those who colonized us with no voice for a long time. And not being able to speak is very damaging to people more than they can really imagine. And I think this is our age to start recovering and getting back on our feet. And, you know, even when we think we are on our feet, until everybody's on their feet, we are still not on our feet.
That is powerful.
Respect, man.
Enough respect. Oh, Elder Seed, thank you so much. I'm happy to hear your story and to see the steps that you have made and how much you continue to inspire the next generation of artists. And also, when I was watching the video, Harare, the way you captured the story of where you grew up, you know, the story of Mbare in those visuals, that really hit me hard because so many times we make it out there, we don't want to reconnect back to our roots, but you have remained very connected to it.
I think in that video, one of the most powerful moments for me was bringing the other members of Bongo Muffin to store that wall.
Wow, powerful.
Because that's the place I think I first watched my first movie. You know, I first watched my first movie.
Was it Mandela Films?
No, way back. It was 1993.
Wow.
When I was my first movie there. I watched it there. So to have my friends from South Africa passing through such an iconic place for me was like, wow, you know, this is it. And the place, the outside, everything is still intact. It's like, wow. This is it, man.
And talking about films before we end, how much did films inspire or like feed your imagination?
Yeah, because remember when you grew up, I mean, there was a lot of Chinese movies.
Yes.
Chinese movies. That was the one. There were some of the movies that were, if not like 80%, influential in the ways that we, even the Chinese humor.
Yes.
Before we would even speak English, you know, the accent was you know, it makes you feel like the Chinese of today are different from the Chinese of the 80s, you know.
It's quite interesting because you talk about that. That's what Turbulence. I spoke to Turbulence on Monday in an interview, and he also spoke about the Chinese movies that Kung Fu was really a big thing that influenced.
Yeah, was a very big thing because you know, not only was it like you know, it resonated because remember they those most of them were shot in the countryside, you know.
Yes.
You know, so there's all these things happening, you know, and you could associate some elements about it, and there was also this theme of good over evil. You know, something is happening to your family, and you go and take revenge.
Yeah.
One or the other. I think it resonates with the human spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's different now from the Chinese who are now coming to dig it, who are now coming to dig gold in Lunyani. It's like, yeah, there's some people or what
That's quite interesting. Yeah, true. Wow, thank you so much, Elder. I really appreciate it. Yeah, true.
Thanks, man.
Blessed. Before you go, thank you so much to everybody who's been watching. Jim Akurumbadi says, Elder, we wait to host you again in Norway. And then there's my taco.
Norway was amazing. Norway was amazing. Big up to all the Norwegian pastors.
Yeah.
We're out there, man. I got some friends there in Norway. The memories, still going on.
Great, great. And there's also a gift ghostwriter songs. He says, that's my uncle right there. Used to see him a lot at Blawayo Polytech College. And there's also my Taku. She says, you always love music from a young age. I personally did not understand you at that time. So it is good that you are pointing it out. That is good for youngsters to be in music today. Wow.
Yeah, man. Enough respect.
Thank you so much. Blessed. Thank you so much, Elder. Bless. To everybody who's been watching.
Pick up yourself, earGROUND.
Thank you so much, Elder. Thank you so much. It means a lot. It means a lot. To everybody who's been
earGROUND.
bless. Everybody who's been watching, it's been earGROUND, New Voices Amplified. Until next time, I'm out. Remember, tomorrow I'm speaking to the legendary Sly from Sly at Dunbar at 6 p.m. Catch us on earGROUND. Thank you. Out.
Respect.
Bless.